Welcome to today's Explainer. You know, after decades working in this field, if there's just one piece of wisdom I can pass on to you, especially if you're just starting out in your career, it's that we absolutely need to rethink the value of human resources. I mean, when you hear the letters HR, what pops into your head? For a lot of folks in the corporate world, the image isn't exactly strategic. But today, we're diving into a truly profound article by Sandeep Nair, and I'm going to challenge that perception entirely. We're going to reframe our department not as some administrative afterthought, but as the literal lifeblood of a company. By looking at what we do through the lens of a corporate homemaker, we're going to uncover the massive amount of invisible, absolutely essential work that keeps organizations alive and thriving.
So let's just go ahead and tackle this pervasive myth right out of the gate, the idea that HR is just the superficial party planning department. Early in your career, you'll probably realize that the broader corporate world kind of reduces us to what Nair calls the Fun Friday team. They see us as the folks who, organize the office celebrations, set up the chill sessions, or just hound them to sign a stack of forms. And sure, that is the highly visible surface layer, but it's totally trivialized. Contrast that myth with the reality: high-impact infrastructure. The truth is, those celebrations and forms are barely the tip of the iceberg. The actual strategic weight of our profession involves this relentless, behind-the-scenes orchestration. We create the very environment where everyone else can actually succeed. But to really wrap our heads around the gap between these two views, we actually need to look outside the office entirely.
To truly grasp why our role is so fundamentally misunderstood, we have to look at the historical undervaluation of domestic roles. Think about the traditional homemaker. When guests arrive at a beautifully kept house, everything looks so effortless, right? The house is pristine, the atmosphere is warm, the host is chatting comfortably. And because those guests only ever see that final polished result, the wildly unfair perception is often that the homemaker is, well, doing nothing, just staying home. That relentless, invisible labor is completely hidden from outsiders. They don't see the sweat, the meticulous planning, or the daily problem solving that went into creating that perfect vibe. It's a perception based entirely on a lack of visibility. And honestly, it mirrors our own misunderstood career perfectly.
The thing is, the homemaker is definitely not a passive participant. They're the active foundation holding the entire household together. This role has historically been so deeply undervalued precisely because its success is measured by the complete absence of problems. When a home functions perfectly, the work is totally invisible. But make no mistake, they are the backbone. And a backbone provides structure, it provides support, and it allows every single other part of the body to move and function without just collapsing. The homemaker is actively constructing the reality of the home every single day. Once you recognize that, you start to see exactly how crucial that invisible support structure really is.
To really appreciate that backbone, just think about the sheer volume of this invisible workload. Let's look at a typical dawn routine. Long before anyone else is even conscious, the homemaker is awake. They're prepping meals, mapping out crazy complex schedules, organizing daily essentials, and anticipating all that inevitable morning chaos. They don't just react to problems, they plan ahead so that everyone else in the house can literally just wake up and function. The rest of the family doesn't have to panic about where their clean clothes are or what they're going to eat. They just get to focus entirely on their day. The homemaker has proactively absorbed all of that operational friction, creating this seamless experience for everyone else.
And that brings us to Nair's central, absolutely crucial analogy. As HR professionals, we face the exact same challenge. We perform essential, high-impact work without getting the recognition it deserves from corporate leaders. We are the corporate homemakers. And I say that with immense pride. We're doing the vital work behind the scenes to ensure our corporate home functions flawlessly. We're watching over every little detail, constantly sweeping away the operational friction so the engineers can code, the salespeople can sell, and the executives can strategize. By doing this, we're building a resilient and consistent culture. Yet, when the company is just humming along, other departments often look at us and assume we're basically doing the corporate equivalent of staying home.
But let me tell you, this invisible workload is immense. Before a single employee even walks through the door, we are sifting through hundreds of CVs, scheduling endless rounds of interviews, coordinating really complex job offers, and managing absolute mountains of onboarding paperwork. Now, it feels heavily administrative, sure, but it is deeply strategic. Consider a recent case study looking at this exact process. It found that meticulous, seemingly routine onboarding paperwork and early engagement directly correlated with a massive 40% increase in long-term employee retention. 40%. Getting that one person to their desk seamlessly isn't just logistics, it's strategic retention starting on day one. If we don't execute our dawn routine perfectly, the corporate household simply doesn't get the talent it needs to survive.
Of course, our work absolutely doesn't stop once an employee is actually in the door. Our primary goal is empowering our people to spend the rest of their time here productively. Beyond hiring, we manage all those underlying details of the corporate environment. We're resolving team dynamics, mediating interpersonal issues, and handling really complex workplace grievances. This proactive management is exactly what prevents future corporate crises from blowing up and just destroying the company culture. It's like how a family member doesn't need to worry about fixing a broken stove because the homemaker handles it. An employee doesn't need to worry about mediating their own payroll disputes or navigating sudden policy shifts completely alone. We handle the chaos so they don't have to.
The parallels are just striking when you really look at how these roles mirror each other. Just as a homemaker tidies up the physical space, we tidied up the corporate culture by resolving conflicts and mediating issues between staff. Where they handle family chaos, we handle corporate chaos by ensuring strict compliance with ever-changing labor laws, to keep the company out of court. And just as they plan ahead for a household's future needs, we plan ahead by guiding employee career paths to ensure the company has a really strong pipeline of future leadership. It is the exact same fundamental strategic skill set, it's just applied to a different kind of home.
So, I want to leave you with a final challenge today. Whether you're a junior HR professional just learning the ropes or a corporate leader evaluating departmental value. Do you only notice HR when something breaks down? Think about it. You only notice the homemaker's relentless work when the fridge is suddenly empty or the laundry isn't done, right? In the exact same way, HR is often completely invisible until a payroll error occurs or a massive conflict erupts. If our profession provides the essential infrastructure keeping the corporate home alive, functioning, and resilient, it is high time we demand to be evaluated for our true foundational value. Next time someone mentions the Fun Friday team, remind them of the invisible dawn routine we execute just to make that day possible. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and never, ever forget the essential value you bring to your corporate household.